Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby was not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. That guy over there goes by the name of... What is it again?
I'm Eddie.
And I'm Webby. Welcome, everyone. I already said that.
That was the cheesiest intro ever, but obviously this is Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. And wait a minute, is this a Eddie and Webby podcast, or is it something different, Webby? I don't understand.
So it is a podcast, and it's very similar to the Eddie and Webby podcast, but it's also very different at the same time. So basically, it's a much more raw version of the podcast. It's a much more unscripted version of the podcast. Not that the podcast is scripted, but still, it's a lot more raw, a lot more impromptu. We never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's just the two of us BSing the whole time. Sometimes a guest joins us, and tonight's actually going to be one of those times when a guest joins us. Isn't that cool?
That is really cool, and I'm excited for this guest. We have a lot of things in common with this guest, and one of them happens to be a beverage that Webby and I like to consume on. So we're going to wait until we bring this guest onto the show before we crack our beverages. Isn't that right, Webby?
That is correct. And there actually is one thing I want to bring up before we bring our guest up too.
What
Maybe
is that?
You want to bring some stuff up too, but like I feel like we've always talked about stuff that helps show that we've made it in the world, especially the world of pickleball.
Yep.
And something recently happened to where I think we can officially say that we've made it in the world of pickleball.
Yes, that is true. I'm sure if you guys have been to any of the major tournaments out there, you've heard somebody screaming in the background. Do you want to give it a try, Webby, or do you want me to?
You go for it. I want to hear this.
All right. Something like, "Let's go!" How did I do?
That's pretty good. She also does a lot of woo!
Or better yet, when Webby and I are playing against Jay DeVilliers, she's saying unforced error every time we made an unforced error, right?
Yep, that is accurate.
Yes, and she is also known to a lot of people by the name of Crazy Kathy, but she's totally sane, so I don't get it. Webby, why don't you take it from here?
Yeah, I love it. I love what she does. She pretty much goes to a lot of the pro pickleball tournaments, and when she shows up, she'll have a stick with the big, large face of her favorite pro pickleball players. Sometimes not even pro pickleball players, just people that are known in the world of pickleball. And I had my first Crazy Kathy experience at this year's Beer City Open, but because we had never met in person before, she did not have a stick with my face on it. She had one of your face, but not my face until now, because she sent us a photo of both Eddie and Webby with their heads on sticks. Oh, yes. Yeah. If that's not proof that we've made it, then I don't know what is.
I don't know what is either. Yeah. That's awesome. Gotta love Kathy. Love her energy. She's so much fun. I've done multiple shots of Fireball with her. Did you know she's also a referee as well?
Is she? I did not know that.
I know. I've been waiting for her to ref one of my matches and for me to bribe her with Fireball to maybe call some foot faults on my opponents, or maybe call some balls out, maybe have a signal like I wink. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that was definitely your point." So, but so far it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, but I love it. I love the fact, and I'm excited to do a tournament where both of us are there and we can have our heads in her hand.
Sounds weird.
That sounded really bad.
Weird. Right. Well, she's going to have a stick in her hand with our heads on it, which that's okay. Never mind. We're about to go to
I feel
weird direction.
I feel like there's no way we can word this without sounding a little weird. So yeah, time to move on, I think.
Yeah. Why don't we bring on our guest? What do you say?
I think that's a great idea. Today's guest owns a pickleball paddle company that recently released a couple new paddles with state-of-the-art airflow technology, and he also loves brewing craft beer. So, I mean, those are both things that we love to discuss, pickleball and beer. So please welcome to the show the owner of OneShot Pickleball, Oscar Montez. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's going great. I know we've been in communication for a while, and I'm glad it finally worked out for you to join us here. And it's great timing because now you have some brand new state of the art paddles out there that people are very interested in. I'm telling you, I've heard a lot of buzz about these things too because they're so unique.
Thank you. Yeah, and like Webby said, we have a lot in common, including beer. So I got mine prepared over here. So yeah,
Well, maybe what do you say you crack your beer and talk about it a little bit, and then Webby and I will do the same.
perfect.
Uh-oh.
Sounds good.
Yep. All right, go for it.
Yeah. Alrighty.
There's just
So today I have it's called Pink Envy. It's from a brewery here in Seattle called Tin Dog, and it's a nano brewery. So it's very weird that a lot of these ones go outside of their, I guess, brewing place because they're very unique and small batches. And I'm gonna pour this on my Crux glass, which is my favorite brewery by far. Then they're based out of Bend, Oregon. I don't know if you guys had the chance, but it's an incredible brewery over there.
No, never had a chance to make it out there, check it out. But I want to hit up that part of the country because obviously it's full of incredible breweries. And it's funny, you actually mentioned that it's a nano brewery. So I know there's nano breweries, there's micro breweries, there's macro
Yeah.
breweries. Do you know what the difference is between the three of them?
I don't think I know like the technical term from like nano to a micro, but I just know nano's the smallest one, and that's where you're just gonna get probably batches that are no more than 5 gallons, I would imagine. While a micro one might have larger amounts in terms of gallons. But yeah, it looks pretty tasty. It's and also it's a wheat ale. 4.6, and it says brewed with hibiscus. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah,
Which
hibiscus,
is,
yeah.
I guess it's a flower or something, and kveik, which I think it's a type of yeast from Norway. So yeah,
Mm. Nice. Hibiscus is good. It's a great flower that's complementary to hops. It could actually be used as a bittering agent like hops as well, but it gives it kind of a floral aroma, which I personally enjoy. I know a lot of people don't like hibiscus beers, but I definitely like them.
awesome.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, Webby,
What?
what are you drinking?
Well, I am actually drinking something from our friends at New Belgium Brewing, and I feel like a lot of people think that sometimes we only drink New Belgium beer because they send us free beer sometimes, and I can put that rumor to rest because I am all out of the free beer that they sent me. I've drank it all, and I actually bought this at the store. I went to the store and bought this beer, and it caught my attention. I love New Belgium beer, so this one is called Atomic Pumpkin. So it's a nice seasonal. I feel like 'tis the
Nice.
season for this type of beer. I've never had it before, so this will be my first time trying it. And it says Atomic Pumpkin Spicy Release. It said special release, but the word special is crossed out and it says spicy release.
Ah,
So that makes it like
interesting.
extra, extra special. So I'm going to crack that open and give it a try.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I was just up in Michigan, my brother-in-law gave me one of those too, and I haven't tried it yet. I should have cracked it tonight, but I forgot that I even had it in my
You blew it.
fridge. Oscar, are you a fan of pumpkin beers or pumpkin spice or fall beers and things like that?
Um, if I'm having just one to taste, yes, but it's not one that I'll just sit and like drink two or three.
Yeah.
Because the spice for me it's a bit too much. But yeah, I need one of those glasses, by the way, guys.
Oh, well, we'll send you one of those
Yeah, we can definitely make that
for sure.
happen.
It's a
But
nice color.
actually, I feel like I'm in the same boat as Oscar. Like I like pumpkin flavored beer, but I don't drink a lot of them. So yeah, I feel like I'll probably only drink a couple of these in one sitting at the most, and then move on to
Mhm.
something else. But yeah, it just sounded good to me, so I'll give it a try. This is really the only time of year I drink it. Like I definitely won't drink a pumpkin beer in any month other than October.
You can't. It's actually illegal too, by the way.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah,
a lot
once
of rules
November
there.
1st hits, I literally will not and cannot drink a pumpkin beer.
You can't do it. Well, what's weird is there's pumpkin beers and then there's pumpkin spice beers because it's two very different things. And like some, you don't really know sometimes until you get it home which one it is. Does that one taste more like pumpkin pie or like actual pumpkin?
It definitely has spice. It lives up to the spice. It says it's a spicy release. This is probably the spiciest pumpkin beer I've ever had, and I kind of like it,
Okay.
to be honest. It's different. It's more unique than any of the other pumpkin beers I've had, and my first sip is it's good. I like it.
Very nice. Well, in the spirit of sticking with New Belgium, I still do have beer that they sent to us, and I was in a hazy IPA mood tonight, so I grabbed their Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA.
Nice.
One of my favorites. Here's the thing about New Belgium is that I feel like no matter what, you're always going to get a good beer with them. They're sponsoring pickleball. They're big proponents of the sport. I love to support companies that are all in on pickleball, and New Belgium is one of them. So thank you again, New Belgium, for sending us beer. It sounds like Webby might be a little bit dry. Hint, hint. New Belgium, if you guys want to send him some more beer here. But honestly, we're even like Webby said, even if we didn't get it for free, I would still drink New Belgium because they're an incredible company and they make incredible beer. So guys, cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Yeah.
Gonna have some fun discussions here tonight.
I wonder how many
Good
pickleball
stuff.
people have tuned out because we nerded out on beer there for a minute. Like,
Yeah,
I should look
I
at
bet
the statistics and see.
Yeah, that'd be funny. But if they did that, they're pretty stupid because they missed out on a chance to win a free paddle because our friend Oscar here has been is generous enough to be offering a brand new free paddle to one of our audience members that are tuning in live. So anybody listening to this after the fact, sorry to tell you, but you missed out. If you tune in live, that's when you get the chance to win stuff on the show. Oh, and look at that.
Oh.
What was that you were holding up there, Oscar?
Yeah, I think we should just jump into it, man, because people are excited to hear about this paddle.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, this is our giveaway. This is our giveaway, so it's ready to be shipped out to whoever we're gonna pick tonight. So yeah.
Excellent. And just so everybody knows, the way we're going to determine the winner is we love when you guys interact with us. So leave a comment, leave a question, and by the end of the show, I am going to be the one that decides which comment was my favorite. And you never know what I'm going to pick. I like to say that we go by Cards Against Humanity rules, pretty much, where just whatever mood I'm in at the end of the show, and whatever comment or question speaks to me, that is going to be who wins it. So maybe keep that in mind when you leave your question and comment. If you're a fan of the show and maybe you feel like you know me as a person, you know my personality, and you think you can leave a question or a comment that I will pick, that's your best bet. I'm telling you right now.
I like it.
Awesome.
So Oscar, man, so talk to us a little bit. So how long have you been in the pickleball world, and like how did you discover it and everything?
Yeah, sure. So this was back in 2018. We used to live in San Antonio, Texas, with my wife, and I had a job opportunity in Seattle and decided to move here. And I always like to tell this story because I think it's pretty funny. So back in Texas, I used to play tennis. That was the only thing I would like live for, right? Tennis. And when I moved to Seattle, we were looking at some rental places, and my wife Christina stayed with our little kid, and I just came by myself, looked at this place, and it was right next to a park, and from a distance I could see a tennis court, and I was like, this is the place we're getting. I don't care if she likes it or not. No, I'm just kidding. I had to send her tons of pictures. But anyways, I said, this is going to be perfect. We're going to be able to play tennis over here and perhaps meet new people and stuff. So, rented the place, went back to Texas, moved here to Seattle, and one of these days that we were walking around the park, as I was getting closer to that tennis court, it just started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And, it was not a tennis court. It was a pickleball court. And two little girls were playing there with wooden paddles. I asked them, what were they playing? They said pickleball. And I swear to God, I said, that's ridiculous. That's, it's not a thing. They're just messing around with me. And we went off our way that day, came back next week, and there was this couple, Pax and Dorina. Those are their names because they introduced us to the game. And I asked them again, and they were like pickleball, and I was like, all right, there's something here, right? They invited us to play, and we just got bit by the bug and started playing pickleball, and that's kind of the story how I started. And then having that tennis background, me and my wife, it was kind of an easier transition to the sport, right?
That's awesome, man. So you immediately fell in love. Since you've started, how often do you play tennis now, or did that slowly kind of go to the wayside?
No, I'll be honest with you. I've heard two different perspectives from people, but actually playing pickleball messed up my tennis game
Oh, really?
completely. Like, yeah, I tried playing, like, I think it was like a year after me playing like pickleball at least 2 or 3 times a week, and I promise you, the timing of the ball was just not there. I had to adjust, and I think we played for about an hour with a friend, and I think I caught up like at the 45-minute mark. So probably he just enjoyed it for like 15 minutes, but I couldn't get any ball back, and I don't know why or how, but for some people it helps them. But I've heard also kind of my situation for others. So it just messed up my game. I still, if someone would ask me, I would still go out there and hit a few balls or try, but not competitive as I used to do it before, where I would play tournaments, be out there. But, it just, pickleball's more fun. So I don't care.
Yeah, I've heard both sides. People say it helps their game or hurts their game. Webby, have you heard people talk about that?
I have, yeah. I do feel like people say that it hurts their tennis game a bit,
Hmm. My
but
tennis game always sucked before, so
yeah.
I bet you pickleball has helped mine. But so, Oscar, like, what level? I don't really know how levels work in pickleball. If they're similar, like if I meet a 4-0 tennis player, is that similar to a 4-0 pickleball player? And where did you fall into that whole spectrum?
I don't think, well, I never competed here in the States. Just taking it a few steps back, I'm born and raised in Guatemala City, Central America. So over there goes by, I don't know if it's the same here, but it goes by, you either play the C division, D division, B and the A, and there's double A, triple A, and stuff like that, right? So that's how we used to play. So within those like divisions, I used to play B. So I was, not super, like a biggest star, but I could play competitive tournaments and stuff. And now for pickleball, I play 4-5, or in tournaments I like to play 5-0. Although I always get my ass whooped. But I rather play up, and learn than a medal. So yeah.
That's cool. Webby and I we're no strangers to showing up, playing up, and getting our asses kicked either,
Yeah,
are we?
yeah, definitely. That's what I prefer. Like for the
Yep.
past year and a half, I've only done 4-0 tournaments, and like maybe I should be doing 3-5, but I don't care. Like I have way more fun doing 4-0 tournaments than 3-5 tournaments, even though I don't always have the greatest of results. But
It's always
as
a good
Eddie
time,
knows
right?
firsthand, anytime he and I team up, I feel like we belong in the 2-0 division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we make horrible partners out there. So, do you have anybody like that, Oscar, where it's like you play really well with someone, but then maybe someone else, like you guys might both do decent on your own, but together you just play like crap?
Um, yeah, she's probably gonna hate me for saying this, but when I play with my wife, when we play just like rec, you have no idea. It's like super fun. We kill it, right? But if we sign up to a tournament at times just for fun or whatever, we both play horrible, right? And it's just the pressure that I get. I guess that I want to maybe poach a little bit more and protect her, but that ends up backfiring, and it doesn't work for me. But she's probably that partner that playing rec is just my favorite thing to play with her. But then if we want to play a tournament or something, we might not do as well. But it's fun.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I
I
don't know.
gotta
Playing
say,
with your spouse, right? It's a tricky subject. What were you gonna say,
yeah.
Webby?
I was going to change subjects a little bit, but I totally agree. Like with playing with a significant other, uh, I feel like that's got to be very tough. And like in most cases, when I've seen spouses or significant others play, typically I feel like there's a lot more arguing going on than most partners, and yeah, it doesn't always seem like a great combination. I don't know how Matt and Lucy do it because they seem to be incredible together. I don't know. Do you think they argue all the time when they're not on the pickleball court?
I mean, I've seen Lucy give Matt some looks sometimes when they're playing. Like,
Yeah.
you know that Lucy look. I've seen her give it to him
Oh
a
yeah.
few times. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. But what I was going to say is, anybody watching on the video feed, you can see that background there of Oscars. It looks like tons and tons of paddles back there. Looks very nice, very cool. And speaking of paddles, let's go ahead. Let's see that paddle again, the one that people are eligible to win. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because like this is it's pretty state of the art. It's a lot more unique than what people are used to. And can you tell us exactly why? And can you tell us can you tell us why it's not a gimmick, like the holes in the paddle? Like why should people know that it's not really like a gimmick? There's actually a purpose for it.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, the company is owned by my family and then also the Louis family, right? So we have two families that own the company. And based on our families, we've done kind of an inspiration behind what we do in pickleball, right? So I'm not saying all of our paddles are geared to tennis players, but that's kind of our inspiration, right? The Louis family has two kids that also play pro tennis, and that's where we get inspired from. So just before I explain that, just to give you guys an example, we were the first company to actually come up with kids paddles that are like playable. Actually, this is an under 8 years old. We have an under 12 years old that it's USAPA approved. So that was kind of the inspiration came from my daughter, right? Now talking about more of the adults, this is the result that came from getting inspired from Michelle Louis. So if you guys haven't heard that name, that's John's daughter who plays professional pickleball. And kind of back in the days, she used to play with a tennis racket that had some sort of vents on the sides, right? Or on the rim, I guess. And that was kind of our inspiration to say, hey, how can we push the limits and how can we get something that looks cool, that feels good, but also that it's not a gimmick, like you said, right? So we've been working on this. So we started the company in 2018. A year later, we started working on this paddle. And then put a hold a little bit on the project just because, again, we had some prototypes and we thought it looked cool, but we had no way that we could like really measure, like, let's say the efficiency or really how do we gather data for this, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things we did was we just started digging around and we found a few companies overseas, specifically in Europe, that were running wind tunnel tests for vehicles, drones, you name it. These companies work with Red Bull, with NASCAR, and they basically try to make these vehicles or components more efficient, right? They even work with golf balls. The golf balls have that dent or all of those
The
dents for a
dimples.
reason,
Yeah.
right? That yeah, the dimples. That's how the ball goes even farther, right? So that's because of these testing and aerodynamics, right? So we were super thrilled when we found this company that wanted to work with us. I talked to the CEO and he said, I explained to him about the prototype and about pickleball. He had no idea what I was talking about, right? I actually had to send him a paddle and kind of shoot him a couple of videos so he could understand what I was talking about because he had no idea. I was just like, it's just like an oversized ping pong racket, right? Like, just see it this way. So once he got it, and once he saw a couple of our prototypes, he said, "All right, we can run a couple of tests over here, and then we did some consulting services so they can tell us like there's like a reason why we have 4 holes. There's a reason why they're located. If you see in the paddle, the holes or the vents are located slightly higher than in the middle. There's like a reason for that. And all of those efficiencies were discussed. So once we put it through like a wind tunnel test, we got a 33-page report basically talking about the drag that the paddle caused. We compared, so this is a normal paddle with the same shape. So these two are exactly comparable, just one with vents, one without vents. And we compared those two, ran the same testing for both of them, and the results came back and told us that it was 2% more efficient. So when I heard this 2%, I was like, why in the hell do we take all of these money and time and you're just giving me a 2%? Are you kidding me?
Right.
But at that point, I had no idea, or we had no idea anything in terms of physics, aerodynamics, right? Other than what you learn in school. So he came back and said, Oscar, just so you know, 2% in any sport. We haven't tested pickleball, obviously, but in any sport, 2% people would kill each other for that. If you take it down to like NASCAR and all of these, also motor like vehicle world, a 0.1%, it's huge, right? So and he then explained to me, and we went into the details. So even though 2% might sound like very little, it's actually a lot, especially when things come down to a fraction of a second, like our sport, right? We're shooting balls at each other from like just 7 or 14 feet away from each other, and the ball comes fast, right? So that 2% does add in terms of the speed or the hand speed that you might have. And the other interesting thing too is that since it has less drag, meaning the paddle will go through the air more efficiently, that also requires less effort. So maybe at a tournament, I don't know if anyone has ran any numbers. We haven't for sure in this spectrum, but how many times do you actually swing a paddle in a tournament, right? And if you multiply that by the efficiencies, then that might be just enough to get you through like the last, medal round or whatever the case might be, right? So there's
Right.
Oh, did we lose his signal there?
Yikes.
Live TV, folks, you never know what's going to happen. It looks like we are having a little bit of technical difficulties. Oscar may have disconnected briefly, but I'm sure we'll get him back on here soon enough. What do you think?
Yeah. Is there a password that maybe was given out that was actually meant for Oscar?
Oh, maybe if the second one you gave me earlier was the one you turned into the new one, then yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what's going on?
Minute, here we go. Yes, that
hello?
is. Sorry about that. We had a little technical issue, but you're back. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So where did we lift off? I'm sorry.
No, you had left off basically kind of talking about how 2% increase, how it can make a big difference. Even though it didn't sound like a lot at first, it's those inches, and how many times are you swinging the paddle, getting your way to a gold medal match? I don't even know. Do you know that number? Did you guys study like how many times you swing the paddle? Like that would be kind of cool to know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question, I guess. And the other thing I was sharing is as we put in the vents, we were also concerned about that side of the paddle, or the sides of the paddle being a little weaker, since we punch in some vents over there. However, the paddle face is graphite. The inserts, and by inserts I mean like and I'll show you one that I cut up just for these type of explanations, but I don't know if you guys can see it there. So basically, so basically these inserts here, that's carbon fiber. So technically it's two different materials. So graphite face and carbon fiber inserts. So these sides are reinforced with that. So that would not decrease the sweet spot, but actually either leave it the same or we've heard from some of our customers that it actually feels even larger, right? So that's a little bit about the reasoning, the data, also all of these data, the reports. We actually have a video of the CEO explaining the technology, showcasing the software that it was utilized, and a lot of how the air goes through the vents. It's on our website as well. If anyone's like interested or want to geek about some of these physical reports and numbers.
That's really cool, man. And Webby and I were both very lucky to have these paddles sent to us to be able to hit with. And I got to tell you, man, as soon as I pulled it out and I looked at it, first of all, this is a sexy paddle. I'm not going to lie. I love the colors. I love the look of it. Immediately, I was drawn to this, and I was like, this is absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't wait to go hit with it. I don't know about you, Webby, but I've kind of turned into a little bit of a paddle geek where I definitely like to try new things out, and I was like, I got to get to the courts, and so I went and hit with it pretty quickly after I got it.
Yeah, same here. You have no idea. Once it came, I was like, oh man, like I wasn't planning on playing pickleball for another couple days, but like I got to play tonight. So I asked my daughter, I was like, hey, you want to go play pickleball tonight? And luckily she said yes. So I got to practice with it. The day that it arrived, I was super excited. And I got to tell you, man, it got the attention of pretty much everybody I played with. Like immediately they were like, whoa, what is that you have? And then when they got a closer look and saw the holes, they're like, what the heck? Is that even legal?
That's awesome. Exactly.
Have you heard that a lot, Oscar?
Yeah, I have actually a pretty funny story over there for you guys. So we released the pack. I think it was like almost 3 weeks ago or so, right? And we fulfilled our back from P. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
now.
I think you're back now. Had a little bit of a blip, but I think you're good now.
Oh, okay. Let me know if it happens again. So, we were shipping orders really quick the first week, and we fulfilled it ourselves. So, I recognized since gotten from a customer saying, hey, can I talk to someone over the phone? Like there's something wrong with my paddle. And as soon as he said that, I was like super concerned, right? Let's get on the phone, help this customer out. And the customer says, hey, Oscar, I'm very dissatisfied with the paddle. And I'm like, yeah, give me feedback. I want to hear all about it. And he says, I went to this place, my community center, and they told me the paddle is illegal because it had vents on it, and also it says USA Pickleball and it's not USAPA. So they didn't let me play this today, and now I'm home. One hell did I buy the paddle from you guys? And I honestly, I laughed. Right, like it was so funny. Obviously I helped him out. I sent him some links, asked him for his email, and said, hey, no.
Man, that's crazy. That's funny. I think he lost his signal again, but man, that is funny though. Like how they complained because people thought that the paddle was illegal, and that's pretty wild.
Well, and meanwhile, and too, the fact that it said USA Pickleball and not USAPA,
right?
It's like where was he playing? I don't. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Right. Yeah. How do these people not know that USAPA is now USA Pickleball?
Right.
I mean, that's pretty wild. But hopefully Oscar joins us soon. But one kind of interesting thing, like you never know what's going to happen on this show, Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. And
nope.
But something cool is about to happen, I think, if things work properly. We never know if it's going to work because we're live. But I actually had never heard of OneShot Pickleball until recently. And that is because a legend in the sport recently got sponsored by OneShot.
A legend? There's
a legend.
A legend in this sport? Come on.
Yep. There are multiple legends. Believe it or not, there are multiple legends in the world of pickleball that maybe people don't know about. Maybe people do. But there is a very well-known person for diehard pickleball fans, people that have been around for a while, and they know that a certain individual recently got sponsored by OneShot Pickleball, and I think that person is actually connected with us now. Is that an accurate statement?
That is accurate, and
there he is.
There he is.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
Just chilling, hanging out.
Yeah.
And for those unaware or maybe are listening and not watching, this is the world famous person known as the Beard, Brian Ashworth. How's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. I didn't want to be left out. I don't really drink, but I do got my kombucha tonight.
Yeah. There
Nice.
Oh, what flavor is that one?
It's Health Aid kombucha. It's cherry berry flavor. It's pretty good. I'm pretty fond of ginger ones, but this one's pretty good too.
Yeah, the Ginger Aid by whatever that big company is.
GTS.
Yeah,
yeah.
Love the Ginger Aid, man. That's at the top of my list for sure.
Right. That one's pretty bomb. That one's really good.
Well, there is a little bit of alcohol in it. I mean, it's a slight amount, so technically you
right
drinking with us.
Right. I figured it only made sense to hang out with you guys. I better have something to drink.
That's
nice.
Funny.
But the timing was perfect because you kind of like saved the day because Oscar had some technical difficulties. He disconnected with us. For anybody on the video feed, you can see that he's still kind of with us. His still image is right here hanging out with us, but he himself is probably trying to get reconnected. But Brian Ashworth to the rescue. We now still have a guest. Thank you, sir.
That's just what I do, you know. That's what I do.
So Brian, we've heard Oscar kind of talk a little bit about OneShot, but I'm hoping you can kind of maybe fill us in a little bit on, you know, why you took a sponsorship with them. What's your perspective on the company, and kind of, you know, what you said about the future of OneShot.
Yeah,
and what your dog's barking at too.
Anything. Somebody close the door outside. Noah! Stop it. Yeah, so one of the big draws to me was they're local, right? And I think it's really cool if we can keep things local. That really helps. I really like them, always hanging out with them, playing. Like, I got a really good vibe from them from the very beginning. So I just thought, like, this would be a really cool company to help out if that opportunity ever comes. And after some talking, after some negotiating, that opportunity presented itself.
Okay. That's cool.
Very
and
nice.
By local, like where, like how far, like where do you live in comparison to where that company's out of?
So Oscar is about probably 45 minutes away from me. He used to be in Seattle. He moved a little bit out of town, but it's all kind of the Seattle area. We're all fairly close to each other.
Nice, man. And what paddle are you playing with?
I don't know how to get my face on here.
Oh.
Angle it to your right, I think. Just a little bit to your right. No, to your left. Okay, there.
Yeah.
Whatever direction that was, that's perfect.
I don't know which direction it was. So the paddle I use is actually called the Pure Shot. It's my signature paddle with these guys. It's really nice. I've hit the Aero Shot. I liked it. I was actually going to ask Oscar how I can get a hold of one because I don't have one yet, and it'd be pretty fun to play with. And like you guys said, like anytime you could take that to a rec center or go play anywhere, people are going to look at it and they're going to see it and be like, what is this?
Yeah, sorry, Brian. Not everybody is quite as big of a deal as Eddie and Webby to where we already have our hands on one and you don't. But
I know.
I mean, it just goes with the territory. It's just what we got to live with.
Right. So I think that kind of goes on to that. We live close to each other, right? So he doesn't need to ship me one. He can just give me one when he sees me, and then I don't know. We start hanging out. We get distracted. I never get one.
That's classic. Classic move.
Guess I just don't know the right people, I guess.
Yeah. You got to know the right peeps to be able to get your hands on one of these, but man, I got to tell you it's it's a sexy paddle. Tell us about your custom paddle with them though. What's the draw to it? Why were you kind of drawn to it?
Yeah, for sure. It's a 16 millimeter core, so it's a little bit thicker. It helps control the ball a little better. It's easy to control at the kitchen. It's carbon fiber face, which has a really nice feel to it. Yeah, it's nice, man. It's really nice. It's very forgiving. Like you don't have to hit the exact middle of the paddle every single time, and you can still get a pretty good shot on the ball.
Well, that would be right up my alley because I don't think I ever hit
Exactly
the middle of the paddle, to be honest with you. Webby, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like I do kind of struggle with that from time to time. But enough about me. It looks like the man himself is back. Oscar, welcome back.
Hey,
can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah,
we can.
got you, man.
right. Nice of you to show up, Oscar.
Awesome. Sorry. I know. Well, you guys, just so you guys know, every time something happens in the company like that, Brian steps in and troubleshoots for everyone.
Nice.
That's what I do.
It's part of his contract.
That's
Nice.
great.
Well,
I love it.
a lot of people don't realize this, but like we always have Brian on standby just in case there's a technical difficulty. This just so happens to be the first time we've ever had a technical difficulty to where we had to bring him in.
That's why I can't figure out this camera thing.
That's classic. Oh man.
So,
Well,
Oscar,
yeah,
I was just asking these guys, who do I got to know to get my hand on one of these Aeroshot paddles?
I don't know, man. Send an email to customer service at oneshotpickleball.com.
Yeah. Okay.
that's the kind of treatment you get as a one-shot sponsored player.
Right.
I love it.
Why don't we ask the audience? Maybe they want to see the pure shot with Aero technology, right?
Oh,
man.
That would be even better.
can you do that?
Let's make that one happen.
Is it just a matter of switching around this part here and putting on a little thicker edge guard? I mean, would that do it?
It's a little bit more complicated. So from like a manufacturer standpoint, Brian's paddle is a little thicker. These ones are 14.5. So we got to create molds for something that it's thicker, right? So these ones specifically for that thickness. But it's not impossible. It's definitely doable.
I like it.
So I need to read a comment that just came in. I think it's hilarious, and it's actually quite brilliant. It comes from Mike Givens on YouTube, or maybe Facebook. I forget which one it is. But anyway, Mike Givens says, "From left to right, the stages of growing a beard." And how perfect is that? Because we got Eddie, who's clean shaven. I've got like a little number 5 edge guard beard. We got Oscar with a little bit more growth, and then of course we've got the beard over on the far right. I mean, man, that is epic.
I even trimmed it up a little bit today.
Nice observation, Mike. I think, man, that's got to be up there with one of the top comments, if not the. That's very observant.
That's going to be hard to beat. Also, I noticed on Facebook his image, his profile image is the OneShot logo. So is he somebody that might already have this paddle? I need to know that before making my choice.
Mike's one of our sponsor players. He's a great individual. But I'm pretty sure if you send him I'll send him another one. Don't worry.
Can you just send it to me instead?
I'll just send him another one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, you are disqualified from this contest, but I love that comment. That was a great comment. That's the type of comment that could win this thing, but Mike is disqualified because he's already a sponsored one-shot player. So everybody else that's tuning in, you're still eligible. Don't worry.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, so I've been really like itching to talk about my experience with this paddle because I did get to play for it for a couple hours the other night. Are you guys ready for my synopsis on everything?
Of course.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I was skeptical at first because I saw it and I was like, okay, there's holes on it. Like, is it going to affect the sweet spot? Is it going to play completely different? What is it going to be like? And I got to tell you, from the very beginning, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I felt like this thing had a large sweet spot. And a lot of times when I've played with new paddles in the past, if I ever hit the ball towards the handle area here, I always felt like the paddle would just die on me. And that's one of the reasons I always liked my my paddle techs, is because I felt like the ball would not die here. And the same thing, I got to say,
It's not
that I love
really an
about paddle
ideal
techs.
spot to hit the ball.
It's not, but you got to remember, I'm like barely a 4-0 player, so the ball gets hit here quite a bit. But the reason I'm saying this is because I felt like it was very forgiving, and I felt very comfortable with this paddle in my hands from the beginning. And then the more I played, I started to think about what weight is this paddle, because especially on my drives, I was hitting it like a 8.2, 8.3 paddle, but I felt like from my hand speed, I was playing with like a 7.6 or maybe like a mid to high sevens paddle. And it was kind of weird. I honestly was like, what in the world is going on here? But it literally, I felt like it was the best of both worlds. I had the power when I needed it with having a paddle face like this and the weight behind it. But I also felt like when I got into hand battles or volleys at the line, I had the hand speed of a much lighter paddle. And I got to tell you, I am going to continue to play with this paddle because I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. I think this is genius. I think it brings out the best of both worlds. And I had a very, very positive experience with it.
Awesome. Great to hear.
Nice. Very
Is
nice.
that consistent
would-
with what you've heard or the feedback you've been getting on it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty in line. I've also heard people mention a lot about something we necessarily didn't include this on purpose, but it just happens. If you actually swing the paddle really fast, it makes a different sound. It's more of a whiffle sound than a regular paddle. So that's the thing that people have mentioned. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because when I played with it, that's something people mentioned right away. They're like, "Wow, that sounds way different than any paddle I've ever heard." And it was like I would drill the ball, and surprisingly, like it didn't make as loud of a sound as I thought it would. Like it's like it muffled it or something. Is that like what you've experienced like with it, or is it like just a unique sound that you're talking about, or what do you?
Yeah. So part of the test came back to us was also in terms of like the decibels that the paddles would generate. These ones like a little more quieter in that sense, but we paid a lot of attention necessarily to that. But yeah, we've heard that as well.
Okay. When I played with mine, I got to say I was pretty impressed with it too. It's a lot heavier than what I normally like. So at first I was like, oh man, like I don't know. I usually play with a pretty light paddle, so I'm not so sure if I'm going to like this. But when I played it, I did very well with it. My daughter and I played together in a little thing at Wolverine Pickleball yesterday, and we were undefeated the whole entire day. And I don't know, maybe it has something to do with this paddle. You never know. But we did great together with it. But what I really loved about it is like the fast game. Like when I was my serves, my overheads, like anytime I drilled the ball and did a drive, like it was awesome. Like it was really, really good.
Didn't you just whiff an overhead?
I did do that, and it was not with this paddle.
Could have been your problem.
yeah. Maybe I needed the aerodynamic holes. That's what caused it. Like the paddle without the holes, it just caused me to whiff, and it was bad. But no, like for how heavy it is, like I don't know if it's just in my head knowing that there's holes in this, but I do feel like for how heavy it is, I can swing this thing very fast. And I'm not gonna lie, like that's not. I'm not just saying this because Oscar is here with me. Like that's no joke. I told people I was playing with, I was like, man, this feels good when I'm swinging it fast for how heavy it is. Like that's not bad. And so people know the weight that it says is 8.22 ounces. So maybe some people consider that heavy. Maybe some people don't. For me, that's a lot heavier than what I normally play with. But I got to tell you, I was really liking it.
Awesome.
I would
great.
say one of the things when Oscar first showed me that was I knew it would get looks. I knew it would bring attention. But I'm big on like, does it perform? Does it play well? and we hit it a lot to test it, and we had I was surprised with how well it played, honestly. I thought the same thing. I thought the vents would kind of shrink the sweet spot. I thought it would kind of make it hit a little different, but the paddle play is really, really awesome.
Well, and there's been a couple of questions coming in on social media about like, well, what happens if you hit the vent with the ball? Where even if there is an event here, if the ball hits here, it's gonna just shoot off anyway. It's gonna be a total mishit. So I don't think having the vent there is really going to make that big of a difference as far as, you know, maximizing the amount of space that a paddle gives you from a hitting surface perspective.
Correct.
Really, it just adds a little extra spin.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing I noticed too, is the paddle face. So I recently switched, and I've been playing with Engage, the Maverick Elite Pro, I think is what it is. And one of the reasons is because I love the paddle face. I love the spin that I could generate with it. It was a little bit more than my paddle techs were able to give me. And this, I felt like, gave me the ability to do a lot with the ball, to shape the ball properly as well. So there's something about the grit on this face that I feel like has a very similar characteristic to that. And I liked it. It felt very comfortable.
Yeah, I noticed that with this one, that it's very gritty feeling. Definitely the grittiest of the paddles I've used myself. But yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, we have a process that we call UV printing. So we put in like that last coat that you feel that it's gritty. We put it on all of our paddles. You can feel it on Brian's paddle as well. And the cool thing about it too is that it also enhances like the color of the paddle. So we're all about like making like a really nice and clean design. So all of those colors would like really pop. Brian's paddle as well, not that we have him here, it has just the honeycomb, but there's like, it looks like there's light shining kind of in the middle, and then it disperses like across the paddle. And you can really see, if you look up close, how that light or that color fades away as you move closer to the edge, which is pretty cool to see. Again, very, very detailed graphics that we try to put in all of our designs.
Nice. There are a couple questions here on social media that I'd like to get to real quick here regarding the paddle. And one of them comes from Arnab Barua on YouTube, and he says, how do the holes affect the swing weight of the paddle?
The swing weight of the paddle. I don't know. I'm not sure if I understand the question, but I can shed some light. Maybe this will clarify some of it. So when we're comparing paddles, and we have, for example, these two paddles, right? We compare them with the same weight. So it's 8.1 versus 8.1. That's when you can see the difference, right? So perhaps if you have an 8.1 paddle with the Aero technology and you're comparing it with something lighter, yeah, potentially you would be able to swing faster, right? Makes sense because there's going to be less weight, less mass, right? So the comparison that we need to make over here, it's apples to apples, right? Definitely, if you grab a blade paddle, for example, that's 7.6, and you compare it to the 8.1 Aero Power Shot, yes, the blade's gonna win in terms of aerodynamics, right? It's all about keeping that same shape and that same weight, and you comparing those two things side by side.
I like it. Can we talk a little bit about USA Pickleball Approval? Because obviously I'm sure there's some pretty strict rules about paddles, what they look like, their size, their shape, whether there's holes on it or not. Can you talk about that process a little bit, and were there any issues or concerns with getting this approved?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously it's not it's not a easy decision, right? Or it was that it was presented that they were like, oh yeah, sure, let's go for it, right? We actually create prototype without knowing anything about it, right? From a technical standpoint, if you think about it, we're not punching a hole in a paddle, right? This is not a perforation in a paddle. This is just the paddle shape, and when you put a edge guard around it, it just turns out that we created a vent. So again, that was kind of like, and I'm just talking about my own standpoint, what I came with and what I presented, right? I can't speak to the process. I can't speak to any of that. But what I can tell you is there were not any guidelines out there in terms of here's what you can do and not do with these vents. The sport evolves, right? We got to remember the sport is going to evolve, and USA Pickleball is not going to have all of the rules and things in place to make calls for every single thing that comes up, right? Like that's impossible. You see it in every sport, right? Things evolve and change. So I think this was definitely kind of pushing the envelope and really testing out where can we go from here. But we did have the data, and we did have our technical points that explained we're not punching a hole in the paddle. You know, it is what it is, and without any hopes of it's approved, not approved, whatever. We just wanted to put that out there and see if it was a thing or not that could be approved, right? So that was the intention of it. Plus the other thing is that by creating these vents, you don't actually add anything that would give you like a significant advantage against anyone else, right? Like it's not that you're gonna use those vents to do something weird with the ball, right? Like you're not gonna use those vents to like necessarily hit the ball harder in any shape, way, or form, right? Like so those are some of the things that also I would imagine were considered, because it's different when you do have something in the face of this in the surface, right? That's why they measure like the grittiness of a paddle. They measure the how the paddle bends, right? Like it's called refraction, right? So they actually test to see how much the paddle would bend. And although these might seem like a straight paddle, they could see like very little differences in paddles, right? And they could be rejected because of that. So again, a lot goes in the back end, I would imagine. Those were kind of our talking points as we approach them.
That's pretty cool, man. And I'm sure a question on people's mind might be as well, does this affect the structural integrity? Is this paddle gonna wear faster than my other one? Is it gonna break? Does it affect the longevity of it?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And one of the things that we had with our initial prototypes, just so you know, those inserts that I showed you before in the paddle, the carbon fiber ones here, those were not there before. We wanted to leave the paddle so players could see like the inner guts of the paddle, right? That honeycomb, right? Like that's what we wanted to do. But as we tested, we realized that there could be a possibility for delamination, right? For the edge guard to actually come off. So if that happens, which could happen in the paddle, the carbon fiber insert plays a role so it doesn't delaminate. So even though you might have the edge guard coming loose on one side, it's not going to change the playability of it, right? So it does come, there's a little bit of a trade-off that comes with new technology. Obviously, this is something that we're going to fine-tune and see how can we keep on making improvements. What I'm saying is that we did have some sort of workaround for that, which is that insert plays a very critical role, right? It's not just so it can look pretty. It just plays a role so it can contain the integrity, even if that comes off a little bit, right? So it may happen. That's the reality of it, but it won't affect how you play.
I love it. And one more question too. So obviously, OneShot, you guys like to take risks and push the envelope. I'm assuming that's why you brought Brian on as a sponsored player, right? Risky move. But yeah, he's agreeing. Was that the intention behind this? Was to push the envelope a little bit? Was it to just see if there was a better way to do things? Like obviously this is a work of art, right? And with every work of art comes some creativity and some thought. Like, what was the thought that really led down the path to get to this?
Yeah, so every year we try to focus on a couple like strategic initiatives. For example, this year we wanted to sign a pro, but we didn't want to sign any pro, for example, and we wanted someone that would really fit in with our thought process, with the way that we care about pickleball, about the community, and that's where Brian came in, right?
I was going to say, so that person wasn't available, so you found Brian. Is that right? Or
yeah, I think you failed that one.
No, it's and that's why we brought Brian, right? Like that was the person that would like really fit the team, and Brian knows this, right? I since the day I met him, I've always wanted him to be part of our family, and he's just a great guy, to be honest. And then the second piece was creating some. I forgot you were here. And then the second piece was doing something in terms of technology that you can like see and feel, right? And the one thing that I'll be honest, and I mean, I have tons of respect for so many paddle companies out there, but one of the things I always like heard was these XYZ technology, and it was things that I couldn't feel in the paddles, right? Like, they were talking about all of these different layers, all of these different honeycombs, but I couldn't feel it, I couldn't see it. So that's where we said like, hey, let's do something about it, right? And then for next year, for example, we are already working on something else that's even, I think personally it's even bigger than the Aero that we're working on. So long story short, we try to put in 2 or 3 things or initiatives every year that would take us to the next level, right? And it just by honestly listening to our players, listening to our customers, and taking their feedback, right? We know we're not going to be perfect, but a lot of ideas actually come from our players, from our customers, and if you hear them and you get creative here and there, you can make it happen.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Should I announce the winner of the contest now, or should I wait a little bit? Because there's somebody right now that I think deserves it, because they have sent a bunch of great comments and questions throughout the entire show. We haven't had a chance to get to them yet, but what do you think, now, or should we wait later? What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay. So this person has sent numerous comments and questions throughout the episode, and I actually think 2 of them are going to be great conversations that I want to get to, but I'm going to announce the winner right now. The winner of the paddle. So actually, Oscar, which paddle is it? Do they get to choose, or is it one of the specific ones? Which paddle is it?
Do you know what? I was thinking about giving the Power Shot, because this is our most popular model, but let's do something. They can pick. I'm okay with that.
Okay. That's awesome. Thanks, man. That is awesome of you to do, to come on the show and offer a paddle to one of our audience members. And then this just shows it pays to tune in live, because if you didn't tune in live, you weren't eligible. But I'm going to go ahead and announce the winner right now. He had a bunch of great comments and questions. I'm going to ask one right now, and it comes from none other than Chad Lacates.
Yay.
Chad Lacates is the winner. He tuned in on Facebook, and actually he found out that Facebook was having issues, which is not a surprise because we hate Facebook and they always have issues. But he went over to YouTube to continue watching us, but he sent a bunch of great questions, and I want to read a couple of his. But congratulations, Chad. Thanks for being a loyal fan and tuning in live. But the one question I want to ask right now from Chad is, if you were given the opportunity to name a craft beer, what would you name it and why? So if you named a craft beer that was like mass produced to the world, what would you name it and why? I think we should have Eddie and Oscar answer this, since they are the 2 beer connoisseurs of the group.
Wow. That's a tough question. Oscar, do you have anything on the top of your head, or?
That's a deep question.
Yeah. I always thought about like, doing some sort of integrating pickleball and brewing some pickleball specific craft beers, and doing something like the Dinkers and the Bangers. And it's like the Dinker series is like maybe a lighter lager, something like that. And the Bangers would be like a double IPA or something like that. Like, so maybe doing like playing off of that would be the direction that I would go. I don't know, Oscar. Hopefully you have a better answer than that, because my answer was was pretty crappy.
No, I think I was just gonna follow your lead and say something very similar, but I'm just gonna say maybe we're gonna keep it on the one shot line. So it's gonna be either like the pickle shot or something along those lines. So making pickleball and one shot together. So I'll say the pickle shot hazy IPA. Yeah.
All right, very
I would
nice.
drink it. I would drink that for sure.
So I got another question here from Chad, which I thought was great. And this one is, if you had to choose any retired athlete to play a Pro-Am event with, non-tennis player, who would you choose and why? And I think Oscar and the Beard should answer this one because Eddie and I are far from pro, so we would not be considered pro to do a Pro-Am with. But I think the two of you are, I think you're qualified enough to play in a Pro-Am. So who would you choose? Any retired sports athlete that is not a tennis player. Who would you pick and why?
I would go
You go
with
first, Brian.
okay. I would go with Tim Brown from the Raiders. Hall of Fame receiver, favorite player of all time. I think just to hang with him would be really fun. If we win, great. If not, great. And then I actually heard the other day that Steve Nash is playing a little bit. And he's one of my all-time favorite basketball players. And I know he's played tennis and soccer. And I know he's a great athlete. So maybe I'd even look that way. But Tim Brown or Steve Nash would be my answer.
Nice. What about you, Oscar?
I would say Michael Jordan.
Nice. That's actually the name that came to my head too. Like, I don't know why. Just when I first thought of it, I feel like, well, let me hear your reason, and then I'll give my reason after you give yours. Maybe it's the same reason. We'll find out.
Oh, I just think he's the greatest athlete of all time. So it's just simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's pretty much where I was at too. Like, I recently watched the documentary about Michael Jordan, and it just like how serious, how serious of a competitor he is, and like he lives, he like eats, sleeps, and breathes whatever competition it is that he's doing. To where I feel like if he got the pickleball bug, I feel like he would definitely be a force to reckon with. And if any of us know that like anybody well into their 80s can play this game very well and very competitively. So I think he would still be a very, very big threat on the pickleball court. What about you, Eddie? Do you have I think we should answer it. So Oscar and I shared the answer of Michael Jordan. Do you have an answer for what retired pro athlete that's not a tennis star that you'd pick for a Pro-Am event to team up with?
Oh, man. You know, I'm going to pick like a golfer because that's like living here in Naples. That's probably the most likely scenario is I'd find a retired golfer like Fred Couples or I'm going to do that. I'm going to say Freddie Couples. I want to see him go out there and play because I do think that the more retired athletes that we get in the sport is going to help because they're going to make people realize that, like you might have mentioned, or like when we had the two Red Wings on our podcast, you can still be competitive and you can still play this game into your later years and kind of fulfill that part of you that never goes away even after retiring as a professional athlete.
I've played with a professional golfer before, and her focus and concentration was unreal. So I think a golfer is a sneaky good pick.
Yeah.
Good choice. I like it.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, I don't want to keep you guys up too much later. I know you guys are probably 3 hours behind.
Buenos noches, Emma.
Wait a minute. Wait, we got another surprise visitor here. Who we got? Who's the
Buenos
new
noches.
special guest on the show here?
Yeah, say hi, Emma. This is my daughter, Emma.
Hi.
Hi, Emma.
Hi, Emma.
How old are you, Emma? Yeah? You're 4.
4?
Wow.
Wow.
And do you play pickleball? Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
nice.
see if this works. Emma, what's the best paddle company in the world?
Pickle. 100.
Okay, there we go.
Wait, Emma, I want to know what's your skill level, Emma? What's your skill level?
What's your skill level? 10.
10?
She said
Did I
5.
hear
Wow.
a 10? Oh, 5. All right. Yeah. Nice. I believe she was a 10 though. I would have believed 10.
Yeah.
She's really, really good at picking up the balls after you're done playing. She's got to feed the monster.
I like it.
Nice.
Emma and Brian have a love-hate relationship.
Oh, really?
I love her. She hates
It's
me.
mostly love.
Not surprised. That's great.
Nice. Well, this has been a very fun night. Thank you, Brian, for making a surprise appearance.
Of course.
This was literally something that Brian and I just discussed yesterday. I was like, hey, we're having Oscar on the show. Would you be interested in possibly doing a quick surprise appearance on the podcast? And it happened to work out. I love that fact.
So
And that's why I love this Thinking Around show, because a lot of what we do on the show is seriously like, we don't plan much out for this show. This one is just like we show up, whatever happens, happens. And I love it. I actually have more fun doing this podcast than our main podcast where we do a lot of pre-production work. So thank you guys both for being here. Thank you very much, Oscar, for sending both Eddie and I a paddle. We both think they are great paddles. And thank you for providing a paddle for one of our audience members, Chad Lacates. Congrats again on winning that. And if this doesn't...
Everyone gets a paddle but Brian.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe one of these days, Brian. Maybe one of these days. I'll play you for it. Hey, how about this, Brian? I'll play you for it. Like, if we're ever in the same place at the same time, we'll do a singles match. If you win, you get it. If I win, I keep it. How about that?
Can I play left-handed?
I was required. Like, I was going to say, you have to play left-handed. And then, are you against wearing a blindfold when you play?
I mean, based off the video I watched, I know I could lob you every time.
Yes. I love it.
Now, with these holes in the paddle, you can't. You haven't seen me with these holes in the paddle.
I love it. Oh, that's classic.
Oh, man. But anything else you want to tell everybody who's tuning in, Oscar, before we part ways?
The millions of people tuning in right now.
Yep, the millions. The number 7 on Facebook, I'm assuming, stands for 7 million.
No, just thanks to you guys for the opportunity. Hope everybody gets a chance to just go through our products, give it a shot. We're gonna be at National, so hope to see everyone there. And no, thanks for everything.
Awesome. What about you, Brian? What are you up to these days? Would you want to give any kind of a plug or shout out to anybody?
Oof. You know, honestly, I just quit my job, so I'm living the retired life. This is wonderful.
Oh, nice. I'm jealous.
Kind of hang out, play pickleball, run every once in a while, take my dog on a walk. It's wonderful.
That sounds
Jealous,
amazing.
Man. It does sound
very
amazing. Living the dream, man.
It's not bad.
Nice. Yeah, well, thanks, guys. This was awesome. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and I hope you both have a very great night.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Man,
Wow.
how fun was that? How damn fun was that?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm tempted to just scrap the podcast at this point because honestly, man, I do feel like because for those of you guys listening, when we do a podcast, it does require a lot of pre-production work, and I don't know how much time you spend, Webby, but it's like a few hours of time that go into it, and this is much more laid back. It's much more chill. It's conversational. We don't have a lot planned. People join us. Let us know what you guys think. Is this something you like? Because if so, we might be onto something here, Webby. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that's a great question. Like, please tell us, like, do you guys prefer when we do the main podcast, the Eddie and Webby Pickleball podcast, where we have one guest that we pretty much do a deep dive on their life and what they're up to, and we do the pros asking pros questions segment. Like, I still love doing that, but it is a lot of work. But what do you guys prefer? Do you like that? Or do you like this show tonight where it was very loose? We had a couple people lined up to join us. We don't always have a guest, but sometimes we do. And we just talk about whatever's on our mind. Let us know, what do you prefer? Because I am not against, like, kind of maybe merging the two and just doing one maybe even turning the main podcast into what Dinking Around is. I don't know. We're constantly evolving. I mean, Dinking Around used to be strictly a post-podcast show where we only did it after the main podcast, and it was a way for Eddie and I to just chit-chat, talk about what we're up to in our lives. But then it became like an easier way to have guests because like somebody could just say like, hey, do you guys want to have us on the podcast sometime? And we could just be like, actually, we're doing Dinking Around tomorrow. You want to join us tomorrow? It's something that like takes no planning whatsoever. So, I mean, what do you guys like? Because I like them both. They're both very different. Should we keep doing them both? Or should we just do more of the style of what we did tonight? I don't know. You let us know.
Well, I like this one. And it looks like David E. says, this was one of the most fun podcasts I've listened to. Loose is good. So maybe we're onto something. I definitely prefer it. So maybe we're onto it. Jason Bennett asked, can you drink and pickleball at the same time? I don't know, Webby. You're going through our Beer City Open footage right now and editing some of the videos. Can you drink and pickleball at the same time?
It is definitely possible, and Eddie and I are masters at drinking and playing pickleball at the same time.
Like literally holding a beer and playing at the same time. It 100% is possible, Jason. So yes, and it's fun too. If you got to have the right group, and it has to be the right mindset, and you have to have a group that is going to like try stuff and have fun and not take it too seriously. And then that's the right avenue for it. Like if you show up to a tournament drinking and you're expecting people to be cool with that, no, you're not. You're setting yourself for failure there.
Right. I agree. But great question. Thank you for that. That was awesome. So there's one topic I wanted to bring up tonight before we part ways, before we end the show. And I don't know about you, but have you noticed that there are a lot of new pickleball podcasts out there?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, everybody should go out there and start a podcast, right?
Yeah, it's fun. Like, I'm telling you, like, anybody can do it, and there's a lot of them out there. But I have a question to ask you, Eddie. Do you think, like, this summer, we took a break from the podcast for a while. We used to do at least 2 a month, usually about 2 or 3 a month. But this summer, we both had a lot going on to where we decided to, like, just do it whenever we could, which turned out to be, like, once every couple months, maybe once every 3 months. And so we haven't been doing them nearly as regularly as we used to. And I'm wondering, do you think the fact that we stopped doing them regularly, did the world feel a need for more pickleball podcasts? Because I feel like it felt like every week there was a new pickleball podcast coming out in our absence. Like it just, I don't know, maybe it's coincidence, but it seemed to happen while we were not doing our podcast. What do you think?
There's only one that I feel like happened because of that. And that's obviously the Freestyle Boys, Ben Johns, Rob Nunnery. Of course, they followed us. They listened to every episode. And when they're like, God, we're not getting enough Eddie and Webby out there. What are we going to do? They're like, we're going to start our own podcast, and we're not going to edit it. We're just going to turn on the microphone, and we're going to go. And that's why they started the Freestyle Boys. And I like to make fun of them. They self-admit that they like their podcast is raw. It's totally unedited. Ben Johns doesn't even know until like 5 minutes in that they're actually recording most of the time.
Right.
But I do actually really like that format, and I like what they're doing, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I've been loving it. Like, I think it's a great one, and like of all the new ones, that is by far my favorite pickleball podcast out there. And I love the fact that they just like Rob Nunnery, he hits record when Ben doesn't realize he hits record, and after a couple minutes, he's like, "Yeah, Ben, we're live now. We're recording. We're doing the podcast."
Yeah, welcome to the podcast, Ben. We've been recording for 5 minutes.
Right.
Glad you could show up here.
Yeah, and most podcasts, like their podcast isn't live. Like it doesn't happen live like ours does. Most podcasts, like they'll record it, they'll listen back to it, they'll cut out anything they don't like. I'm pretty sure Rob and Ben, they hit record, they hit stop record, and then they hit publish like a week later, and that's it, and it works. It works.
Like you can literally hear them hitting the record button and hitting the stop button in the final product. I'm messing, but but it works out. That's the great thing about podcasting, and I think Webby and I were both a little anal about production, and obviously you can tell by this incredible production we have going on that we take pride in it, but we probably care too much because I have to tell you that I've listened to a lot of podcasts and I've watched a lot of YouTube videos that production value is like number 6 on their priority list, and it's fantastic content. And so, you know, it is what it is. But we're not going anywhere. I know David E., you're concerned. He said, "Don't leave us again, guys." We're not. We're going to continue to do this. My hope is that everyone out there likes this very loose stuff, so that way we can kick it out a lot more with much less planning. So that way we can get it out there more frequently.
For sure. Because, the type of podcast we did tonight, we can easily do much more frequently than the regular podcast because we put a lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, a lot of research. And this one, literally, we just show up. Sometimes we have a guest. Sometimes we don't. And I think they're always a blast. So I love it.
And that's the thing. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you know, we didn't have any, like, set questions or anything for Oscar. We just started to talk to him, and I feel like that took us in a different direction than if we would have had this, you know, like, thought out, formalized plan. So if the podcast becomes what Dinking Around is now, then what's Dinking Around going to become? That's got to be like that's gonna be like an after hour show, man. That's got to be like completely raw, you know, rated R type of content. I think we should go down that path. Yeah.
It'll be like people do hot takes shows, but we're going to do like hot takes to the extreme to where it's almost too hot to handle.
Yep. I agree. I think that'll be fun. Let us know in the comments though, guys, because honestly, Webby and I, we mostly do this to entertain each other. That's like our primary goal is just to goof off and hang out and do fun stuff. But at the end of the day, we also want to provide good pickleball and 90% pickleball and like 10% like craft beer content for you guys. So let us know. We're always open to new ideas and new feedback, and less work, less planning. I'm all about that.
Yep. And speaking of new ideas, like something recently that we just started doing is we got on TikTok, and I'll be honest, I'm having a blast with that because like just 2 days ago, I was editing footage from the Beer City Open, and there was a shot where I got hit in the nuts with a pickleball, and I was like, oh, this is funny. I should put this on TikTok. So I added some music, put it on TikTok, and it's something that I can just, if I have an idea, I can just put it out there immediately, and that's what I like about it. And like the videos are a minute or less, so if like I see a good funny moment or a cool moment in any of the videos that we do, I can just upload it right away because I haven't even posted the video that came from yet. I saw that moment, and I was like, oh man, people love a good nut shot video. I'm going to post this on TikTok and add some music, and people seem to be liking it.
Are you going to post the one where I Nasty Nelson you on TikTok?
That'll probably happen. Yeah, I feel like that'll happen. I think I'm going to add that to the one, the vlog video of your tournament experience. I think that'll be a good one to add it to.
Okay.
Yeah. And man, good. So for anybody that's not aware, on our YouTube channel, we started an Eddie and Webby Beer City Open vlog adventure series. And I'm not kidding. It's probably going to be like 8 or 9 episodes by the time we're done with it. We've done 3 so far.
It's much content.
So much content. Yeah. Like I jokingly said, like, oh man, we're probably going to have like 5 or 6 videos like to make from this content. It's going to be at least 7 videos.
Well, and are we going to do the behind the scenes one that you brought up too? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I think we should still do that. So like we've got 3 so far. The most recent one was our 2-versus-1 match against Jay DeVilliers. It was the highlight video, which I love. That's actually one of my favorite videos I've ever worked on because that experience is one of my most fun pickleball memories to date. I love that one. The next one that's going to come out is the highlights of my mixed doubles experience with my partner Jenna. The next one will be Eddie's mixed doubles experience, mixed with our very fun drunken pickleball night. I think I'll add that to that video because that was the same day. We've got not 1 but 2 Eddie versus Webby matches that we recorded that time. We did Cast on the Street. That one was already released.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
We also have a joke video that hasn't been released yet that I think is going to be hilarious. I mean, it's crazy. We have so much great content. I'm excited. Can't wait.
I forgot about the joke video, man. We need to do that.
Yeah. I think that might be one of the best ones we do. Like it's crazy how much good content we got just out of the 2021 Beer City Open.
I love it. Yeah, so much good content. I'm excited for this upcoming year. Definitely going to be there again. But yeah, it is pretty crazy to think. Like I think I was in Grand Rapids for 6 days. You were there for 5. So much stuff happened in that time frame. And
It's crazy.
it was literally no sleep, but so much good content. So fun. I'm excited to be able to share that with you guys, and let us know what you think too. Do you like the vlogs? Do you not like them? I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Like the pickleball world is this small little niche market, and it's usually a different demographic than who we cater to, which is we cater to more on the younger side too. So it's like, I don't even know. Do people watch these videos? Do people care?
Right.
I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah.
We're just making them because it's fun. So let us know.
Yeah, and like Eddie said before, like really our whole goal is to entertain each other. So that's the main priority that we have. Do you guys actually like the stuff we're doing? Because if you don't like these vlog videos, I'm not going to spend all this time working on them because it takes a lot of time to put them together. But
yeah,
I do like I love working on them, and I love the finished product. But I mean, if people don't care about them, I don't need to post them on YouTube. I'll just share them with my family or something.
Well, the funny part too is that like back in the day, like Webby and I, like we would take turns. Like I would post like 3 or 4 videos when he was busy, and then he would post like 3 or 4. I feel like lately, the last 6 months, it's been all you making all of these videos, and I feel bad about that. So I promise you, I'm gonna start making more videos and posting them as well.
It's all good because, like I said before, like you are the master of this podcast. I just show up, you run the thing, you do the hard part, and then you did a lot of live streaming the last couple of years, which I know is like very difficult to do. So I don't have any hard feelings whatsoever, and I love editing videos. It's a hobby of mine, and if people like watching it, that's awesome. I will definitely keep doing it.
Well, I tell you what, I think I'm officially retired from me producing like pickleball tournament live streams. That's it. It's done. It's official. I'm retiring. I'm happy to help out with other people who are producing. I love when I've helped out with Boxcar. I hope Kyle Salenko will have me help him again because it's a blast. But as far as me doing it, retired, this is it. I like to do the studio style live streams, podcasts, things like that. But doing tournaments and matches, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Checked
For the
out.
sake of the pickleball world, I'm sad to hear that, but at the same time, like I know how difficult it is and how tough it is, and I do like when you and I helped Boxcar at the Beer City Open, that was fun. But when you and I, when you and I did the Simone's Florida Grand Slam, and when I say you and I, you did the work and I kind of helped here and there, like that wasn't nearly as fun. Like it still was awesome and very rewarding, but what we did in Grand Rapids for the Beer City Open and helping Boxcar Productions when they needed help, that was a blast. I loved every second of that. I definitely see why that would be a preference of how to contribute to live streams and stuff like that.
Well, the one thing I've realized is that like you have to do it all the time, because even tonight we haven't done a live stream podcast in I think over a month. Wasn't it mid-September where we did our last one with the Pickleball Hall of Fame stuff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had to like remember all this stuff. And so it's
right.
like there's a learning curve every single time to where if you're not doing it consistently, it becomes challenging. And I think that with tournament live streaming, it's even more challenging because it's like, okay, who's going to be running the scoreboard? Who's going to be operating this? Because it's not just a one-man show anymore. For you to put on a good, solid production, you need a team. And that team needs to work well together, and you need to be well-practiced and well-versed and know each other and communicate and all that shit. And it's just, it's tough, man. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Boxcar, though, Salenko, Randy Coleman, AB, all of you guys are crushing it. Seriously. Webby, did you watch any of the Hilton Head live stream?
I did. It was great. They do a phenomenal job. They do awesome.
Unbelievable. I text Salenko when it first started. I'm like, hey, I know you're literally producing right now, so I don't expect him to answer, but this is one of the most solid pickleball productions I've ever seen in my life. So they're crushing it. I'm loving what they're doing. I hope they keep it up. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think this is a good time to wrap it up. This was a very fun episode. Thanks again to Oscar of One Shot Pickleball and to the Beer. Don't know who I mean when I say the beard, but yeah, Brian Ashworth. That was so damn cool.
Brian Ashworth, the beard, great guy, a lot of fun. Oscar, another great guy. I look forward to meeting Oscar in person. He seems like a super fun, super chill guy to be able to go and hang out with. So very excited about that.
Yeah, I've talked to Oscar on the phone a few times. Very nice guy. He's been a longtime follower of ours too, so that's awesome. I mean, that's another thing. Like for dinking around, like that's what we want. We want people to reach out to us, to interact with us, and sometimes we bring on people that are just tuning in live while we're live out of nowhere.
That's right.
It's just a fun, very loose episode.
Yes. You know what?
Yeah.
I got to say one more thing, right, guys? Honestly, I was really skeptical. How many drinks have I had? I was very skeptical about the OneShot Aero Pro Shot paddle. Seriously, very skeptical about it. As soon as I opened it, this is a sexy paddle. It's nice, but more than its looks, it's actually a lot of fun to be able to play with. I honestly am going to be pulling it out of my bag. It's going to take a lot for me to replace the current Johnny Pickleball Maverick Elite Pro that I have been playing with. But if there has been a contender that has come my way since I started playing with that, this would be it. And I'm not just saying that because we're not getting paid by OneShot. We have no incentive to promote them. Go check it out. This paddle is really cool. Seriously, check it out.
Yeah, and if you like the extended, heavier paddles, this one's awesome too. I will admit, I'm not so sure this is going to be my go-to paddle and my permanent paddle moving forward, but it was a great one. I enjoyed playing with it, and I'll definitely play with it more. I just don't know for sure if this is what I'll use like in my next tournament and stuff. Maybe once I get used to it more, but it is a great paddle, especially if you like the longer and heavier paddles, which I am not totally used to, but I still did great with it. So I would have to say I recommend that too if you like that criteria.
Go check it out. Go drink New Belgium Beer if you're old enough to drink beer. And hope you guys had fun. On that note, Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.